It was her way or the highway.
Range Wilson.
When Denise got off the phone with Annette, she let me know that Annette had not reacted well to the news that I had slept with her best friend. But I got in my car and headed down to Colorado Springs anyway. What else could I do? I had nowhere else to go. I had to face the situation head on and try to figure out if I could still work for Annette while living in her house, given what had just happened. When I got to her house, I sat down with Annette to talk things out. Annette continued to maintain her regal demeanor. She did not get angry or yell. She just made it perfectly clear that she was deeply disappointed in my behavior. I could have argued that since I was going to be working for Annette, she had no further interest in who I slept with. But I didn't do that. First, because it was a pretty weak argument, considering the emotions involved. Second, because I knew it would do no good. Instead, I turned the conversation to what would happen next. After all, Annette still needed a personal assistant, and I was still willing to do the work. Annette agreed that the business relationship could continue on 2 conditions. First, she made it clear that she would not be getting physical with me in the future. I was perfectly fine with that. In fact, that was what I was hoping for. Maybe I could have chosen a better method of achieving that goal, but it was too late for that now. The second condition surprised me, though. She said I was no longer to have any contact with Denise whatsoever, either personal or professional, and that I was not to allow Denise to contact Annette in any way, shape, or form. In other words, Annette was cutting Denise out of her life completely. This seemed to me like an extreme reaction to an unfortunate situation. But I agreed to that condition as well. What else could I do? It didn't take long for me to get a better understanding of Annette's responses. She had left a medical textbook lying around with a bookmark on the page for something called Narcissistic Personality Disorder. People with this disorder honestly believe they are the most important person in the universe. They are the star of the show called life, and all other people are simply playing a role. In this book, I read the detailed description of this disorder, and it all described Annette perfectly. So I thought to myself, wonderful, I'm working for a full-blown narcissist. If anyone else out there has ever worked for a narcissist, let me know in the comments below. I have a feeling this is actually pretty common. In any case, it turns out this condition is tough to change, because for all anyone knows, Annette could be the star of the show. There's no way to logically disprove that. To her credit, she understood that she had this disorder and was trying to do something to mitigate it, but she seemed to be in no particular rush to make any fundamental change to her personality. One thing was perfectly clear about Annette. It was her way or the highway. And it didn't take long for me to see this in action. One day she called me up on the phone and said that she was having some friends over that evening and I had to clear out of the house. I pointed out that I could simply stay in my room, which was upstairs, and not bother anybody, but she was having none of it. She insisted that I clear out completely. So shortly before the time she had specified, I got in my car and tried to figure out what to do with myself. I knew better than to go to a bar, because that would just end badly for everyone. I didn't know a soul in town except Denise, and I had snuck in a couple conversations with her, but she had made it clear that she had no interest in an ongoing relationship with me. So I decided to go to a movie, by myself. I watched a Vin Diesel action flick called XXX. It was just about as stupid as it sounds. And I've had various low points in my life, but sitting there in the movie theater with Vin Diesel as my only friend within 1,000 miles was pretty depressing. But there was nothing else to do but stay professional, do the work Annette had hired me to do, and figure out a way to dig myself out of a difficult situation. To find out how I got myself out of Annette's narcissistic clutches, tune into my next episode of Life. In the meantime, like this video if you liked it. share on social media, leave a comment below, especially if you've worked for a narcissistic boss, and most importantly, subscribe. My name is Range Wilson, and I'll see you next time.